Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Real Estate America's Newsroom. It is the 7th month, the 19th day in the year of our Lord 2022. My name is Jake Wolf, and we have an action-packed show for you today, as always. But a quick word from our sponsor at Freedom Move USA. If you guys are planning on making a move and your real estate agent is not certified by Freedom Move USA, you're going to spend anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 additional dollars. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. So go check out Freedom Move USA today to go ahead and get your real estate agent if you're planning on selling or buying or making a move. So hot news today, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we've got a full lineup of amazing guests behind the scenes. Starbucks and 7-Elevens are closing stores for safety concerns. So we're going to find out what types of safety concerns are happening at your favorite coffee shop or your convenient 7-Eleven in different parts of our country. It's quite interesting. New home builder stocks dropped 30% year to date. 30%. Price cuts are inevitable, says Zelmen and Associates. We've got a very important news clip and a prospectus on the next year to 3 years from Zelmen and Associates on the housing industry. And celebrities, the wonderful celebrities. Yep, they're using more water in California, and while others are not. So some of our southern states are having some issues with drought, and water demand needs to be conserved, and celebrities are just using that water. We're going to find out what's going on there. And mortgage news with Captain Kirk Jaffe, as always. If you guys are just tuning into this show right now, I'm here to tell you, Captain Kirk Jaffe is America's mortgage guy, right? So he knows all things. Actually, over the last couple of weeks, he flew out of outer space and had a meeting with over 100 economists to go ahead and bring back all of the information just to you on what's going on in the mortgage side of the house. And if you are a real estate agent, you might want to listen to this. Safety concerns. A real estate agent was attacked at a model home in Las Vegas here just a couple days ago. Pretty scary. So we're going to go ahead and have a safety briefing at the very end of the newsroom and take a look at that report. So, but before I get going on any further, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce my esteemed and illustrious co-host, Mr. Nicholas Sakis. Nick, how are you doing today, sir?
Sergeant, I'm doing fantastic. I'm recovering a little bit. Did some manual labor in the yard this weekend and realizing I'm not 25 years old anymore, getting my hands dirty.
Oh, you just got to power through it.
Power through it. Yeah.
Power through it. The good
Feeling
Lord
good,
gives
though.
us an opportunity to bleed sometimes and hurt sometimes. We live a non-infinite life. You just got to go for it. Stay blessed and
right.
unstoppable.
That's right.
So good for you. Good for you. So you were taking advantage of the heat of the day and the summer here.
Lots of heat. Yeah. Took some trees down, did some landscaping, working on a border, cutting some wood, fun stuff, man stuff,
Every homeowner out there has to do that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So whether they like it or not. We've got a big lineup today, Nick, big lineup. But before we get into that, why should people even watch us here at Real Estate American News? Like, why is that even a thing that they should do?
I mean, you say it all the time. We spend our non-infinite life, bringing you guys as much news as possible, especially if you're in the real estate industry. If you're not in the real estate industry, you're just a consumer and you kind of see all these things bouncing around the news and you want to know the truth, the perspective from people in the field that are doing it every day. That's why we're bringing you reunation.com, right? So essentially we're taking all the conglomerate of news channels. We're looking at everything from our scope of view, all the professionals that we have on the show in each individual market, and breaking it down so you guys have the best knowledge to know exactly what's going on in the market right now. And we're always looking for contributors. So if you are a real estate professional, go to reunation.com, fill out the form. We're looking for people in other markets to bring us, boots on the ground news. So come join the team, reunation.com.
We get a lot of viewers here at Real Estate American News, ladies and gentlemen. This gets rebroadcasted and shared all throughout the social spaces. So if you are an organization that pertains to something in real estate and would like to sponsor the Real Estate America's newsroom, let us know. Go over to reunation.com. Enter your information at the Real Estate America's newsroom. One of our associates will reach out to you. So good deal. Well, I just think that they should watch it because they're going to get more informed. It is good to be smarter.
That's right.
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 All right. Here we go. So Starbucks and 7-Elevens closing stores in certain spots of the United States. Why would they do that?
It's getting a little chippy out there, right?
They said safety concerns and maybe some mental health concerns for their employees. We drilled down and figured out what that means. Guess what? The new home builder stocks dropped 30% year to date. Yesterday's report was going, oop, stuff's not looking good out there.
We're starting to get emails again. We're starting to get specials and people reaching out to us, new home builder reps saying, hey, remember us? We got some cool things happening again. Oh, now we want to be best friends.
There was a guy in Los
people
Angeles
who were snaking our deals and snaking our customers, and now we want to be besties again. So we all have short-term memory.
There was a guy in Los Angeles. It was either an agent or a broker, and we don't have that news clip. It's not part of this show, but it was hilarious. He was all excited. He went in and put his sign in the front yard and went in and listed this home for $870,000, and he had all of his cupcakes and cookies and drinks and taffy and everything else and balloons, literally balloons, waiting for people to show up, and crickets. So I think there's certain parts of the U.S. that there's going to have to be a reevaluation for sure. So
people,
you know what?
Balloons. I would stop by if I saw balloons.
So would I. Maybe the realtors need to go ahead and pour margaritas.
Hey,
everybody loves margaritas. I'm just saying, if you put a big open house and said pictures of margaritas on me.
Paul from North Carolina, one of our contributors, will appreciate this. We do Greek style open houses. So
like
we have
Euro sandwiches,
authentic Greek food, and usually always pulls a crowd.
That's fantastic in every way. I'm totally down with that. I heard Paul's a really damn good cook. I actually saw some of his videos. He was just cooking all of this different Greek stuff. And I'm going to have to go ahead and jump on the motorcycle and head up to North Carolina, just hang out with Paul. He's a cool dude.
Agents are going to have to get creative again, right? Your open house might have to have a local powerhouse food truck in front of it to bring some crowds in. Like you're going to have to start getting a little creative. It's not going to be quite as easy as it was a couple months ago.
Nick, who's your favorite celebrity?
Ooh.
I know that's a loaded question, but did you know the celebrities and maybe even yours are using more water when they shouldn't out in Southern California?
Heard about something like that.
So it's gotten so bad that the water company is actually metering your water manually. So they actually come out, they control everything up to the backside of the meter, and they have these washers that they can drop in, and it's got a small little pinhole in it. So if you're a water offender in Southern California, you better watch out, because there is no way that you're going to be running two faucets in your home at the same time.
Yeah.
Until you redeem yourself. So good deal.
All the more reason to move to Florida, right?
Yeah, or the Midwest or anywhere else. Yeah. There's a lot of places. Did you see how I diverted that?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Florida's closed.
Yeah.
We have no room. No more room.
I heard they built a wall in between Florida and Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be called the Florida-Georgia line.
Keep that going. Keep that moving.
Passports are not allowed. They've claimed their independence. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. A lot of people are moving to Florida. So good deal. So we're going to check in with Captain Kirk, and then we've got a big safety briefing, and this is very important. I wanted to bring this into the show, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a real estate professional, and especially a woman, there is a reason to go ahead and watch your back. Be prepared and learn how to take care of yourself in situations and know how to go ahead and get out of these situations. We're going to go ahead and cover a report here in the final segment. And if you are watching this, I ask that you pass it along to some of your other real estate professionals, and maybe even have a safety stand down. If you're a real estate agent or brokerage right now, or if you come across this, now is a good time now to go ahead and have that kind of a conversation. So we get very busy in life, get moving fast. There's never a bad time to go ahead and have a safety stand down with all of your people. So the last thing we want to ever see is somebody get hurt or disrespected by some villain or somebody who's trying to disrespect another human being, period. So good deal. Well, let's go ahead and bring in a couple of our other guests here today, Mr. Captain Kirk Jaffe and Paul Anastopoulos. The famous Greek cook from the Northern Carolinas is with us today. So, Paul, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Hope you guys are as well. And let's don't forget, Captain Kirk is a real chef. I'm just a line cook. He is a chef.
Oh no! Here we go. Don't be modest.
Wait a second, really? Kirk?
Well, we'll get together, Paul. I'll come out there your way, and we'll do some cooking together.
So I learned something. A New York strip and a filet mignon comes on the same part of the spine behind the cow, and you can't have the best of both worlds. The better the New York strip is, the lesser it's going to be for the filet mignon. The better the filet mignon is, the lesser the New York strip. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kirk.
I just go for the T-bone, and you get both.
There you go.
Get a little bit of both.
Yeah, but I wanted to comment real quick what you guys were talking about on the open house, and my question to that agent is, how many agents did he call prior to the open house to let the other agents know he's hosting an open house? How many doors did he knock in that neighborhood with a flyer, letting the other neighbors knowing he's going to be hosting an open house, and if they have anyone buying in the neighborhood to come? These old school tactics have to come back with the shift that's going on, or else they're not going to make it.
Hey, why did they even stop? If you had a food truck out there when all of those people rushed the place for open houses, you would have been able to cater to the humans better, keep them fed. You probably would have gotten better offers anyway.
But I can tell you, Paul, had my license since 2005. I have never received one phone call from any agent saying that I have an open house this weekend that I should stop by, inviting me to an open house. I've never gotten that phone call.
Okay. Well, I do those calls.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I think they
never,
should.
Ever. Now, brokers open's one thing, right? You have brokers open, new to the market, like that's one thing. But I've never gotten an invitation from another agent to go to an open house.
Does that make you feel bad?
I don't know.
I kind of feel like
I would feel left out.
I mean, I call them and I say, "Hey guys, I'm doing an open house. Do you have any buyers? Send them my way." And it's
so why that's important. We'll get in the show for a second, but like that is such a good play, because if I got that phone call from Paul, because the number one fear in an agent who has a buyer that maybe is going to go to an open house, you always accompany them because you feel like they're going to stray away, or if you don't have a buyer's representation agreement, like you want to be there at all times. If the other listing agent called me and said, "Hey, if you got any buyers, if you're going to be out of town or whatever, like you can't make it, come by. I know they're yours. Let it put it on the like." That would give me so much more security as a buyer's agent to know that you've already got my back before I even sent my people there. Like that's how we play together. That's a really good move. I like that a lot.
Thank you, Nick. I want to give just a quick story, Jake. I do a lot of social media, that as well. And I got a call from an agent in a house in Burlington, and Burlington's in a different MLS district. And she goes, I'll split my commissions. We'll co-broke this deal if you come with me and push this on social media. I said, okay, you're hiring me to market. I went over there. I did that exact thing. I held an open house. I called agents. I door knocked, and I did a broker's open. We got the house under contract in 4 days.
Good. Makes sense to me. Well, let's get into the news, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your insight on that kind of stuff. So, all right, good deal. Let's get into 7-Elevens and Starbucks. What in the world is going on? Why are they closing their doors in certain spots? Here's the mainstream side of it. Let's take a look.
It's one of the nation's most iconic brands, and now in some of the country's biggest cities, Starbucks will close stores. Though it's only 16 locations in regions like Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, and Washington, D.C., the closures are making headlines because the coffee giant is citing safety concerns.
We have to provide a safe environment for our people and our customers. And the mental health crisis in the country is severe, acute, and getting worse.
Starbucks now telling employees it'll offer additional safety training to de-escalate situations and could close restrooms.
Of the 16 stores the company is closing, at least 2 recently unionized. Starbucks says that didn't play a role in their decision, but some employees and even the LAPD police chief have criticized store closures.
I'm disappointed to see Starbucks, or for that matter, any commercial engagement give up.
But Starbucks is hardly alone. After brazen thieves ransacked local retailers in San Francisco, Walgreens and Safeway closed stores or adjusted hours.
It's a scary situation, a scary time.
And now in Southern California, a manhunt is underway after a series of robberies and shootings at 7-Eleven stores in 3 separate counties. After 2 were killed, the 7-Eleven Corporation recommended LA area stores temporarily close. Tonight, for some retailers, the cost of doing business is far too high. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the.
You're welcome. Thank you for that news clip. All right, so Starbucks is saying, "Oh, we got to close some stuff." You know, it was interesting to me. The chief of police, or whoever that gentleman was, I don't remember his rank. It's interesting that he says he was disappointed. So there are some bad actors that are going on. And ladies and gentlemen, let me show you. Here's one of the exact same stores. Here's a Starbucks, and this is what they were dealing with. Okay, so there you go. You've got somebody holding you at gunpoint at a Starbucks. Yes, there are safety concerns that are happening in some of these different cities. And, well, if the chief of police doesn't want to go ahead and see some of these stores close, it's time to go ahead and post up. Maybe send out more law enforcement. That's what we're all about. So my concern is this, gentlemen. We don't like seeing this kind of stuff in the United States of America. It's absolutely ridiculous. We shouldn't be having to deal with it. We know that there's been a big defund the police type movement, and you know, everybody's got their damn opinion on it. But however, we've got folks that are running in, stealing stuff in stores, holding our possible sons and daughters that are the young workers at Starbucks at gunpoint. And finally, corporate's got to go ahead and step in and say, you know what, we have to focus on our employees. Somebody's going to get hurt. This is going to get bad. So what say you? Nick, break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to be fearful. Like, you have to live your life, right? It's not sending your kids to school because you're worried about shootings, not going to a sporting event because you're worried about some terrorist attack, not going to Starbucks to get coffee because you're worried about getting, like, you have to live your life, but you do have to. We always talk about being cautiously optimistic. And I think as a franchise owner, you know, if I'm Starbucks with thousands of locations and I see that one location in particular, or a handful of locations in particular, you know, your employees are your family. You got to take care of those people. So if they're put in harm's way on a consistent basis, then you might have to pull the plug. None of this is good. You never want to hear about anything happening in this fashion, any kind of violence or anything like that. But I got to be perfectly honest. I'm actually a little bit surprised during the pandemic that there wasn't more violence and crime out there from people who, when it became normal to walk into a store with a mask on and nobody looked twice at you, where before, if you walked in from a parking lot with a mask on, like, everybody knew that there was something going down. And now everybody's walking through stores with masks on, covering their face, and like very much what used to look like a robber before is in some parts of the country is still a normal procedure. And I'm surprised there wasn't more crime, as crazy as that sounds. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but like the idea that you could hide your identity so easily nowadays, I'm surprised there wasn't more of that. Maybe that's a crazy thought, but I didn't see much of that.
Maybe the guys that were hiding behind their masks were worried about the other people that were behind their masks.
Maybe. You know what I'm saying, though? Does that not make sense? I mean,
no, it does. It absolutely does.
It makes sense. Here in LA, it's kind of sad that it becomes a political issue, right? Don't they always say, you know, don't talk about politics and religion? Those are the two rails you don't want to touch, but they force it. You know, here in LA, it's so terrible. Defund the police, wait for violence to happen, complain about the violence. Then you've got, to your point, Nick, you know, a lot of those I used to work at Starbucks when I came out here. Starbucks is all about community. I mean, that's what their whole business is about, putting a community coffee shop in every area. And I remember when I worked there, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, that, I met a lot of really great local business people, community activists, all different kinds of people will come and interact and be safe. But what's going on here in LA right now, where you can walk into any store you want, take $900 worth of goods and services and walk out without being prosecuted. Well, it just promotes, I think, unfortunately, mental health issues and people not staying healthy, and it breaks down community. And to your point, we're all wearing masks now, and people are scared or don't want to interact. It's a real shame what's going on.
Yeah, Florida. I mean, we're. I can't remember the last time I saw somebody with a mask on. Like, we're the exact. I don't know what. We went from basically people getting their groceries and spraying their groceries with Lysol and gloves and masks to, like, now you go out to a restaurant and you see people opening up ketchup packets with their mouth again. Like, we're on the total opposite of COVID scare in Florida. I don't know whether that's good, bad, or indifferent or whatever, but, like, if you saw somebody walking in with a ski mask 3, 4, 6 months ago, like, you wouldn't think twice. In Florida, if somebody's walking with a ski mask, you're guards up. Like, that's not normal anymore.
Who wears a ski mask in Florida? And
I mean, there was some viral videos going around TikTok and stuff of people like, I got to wear a mask, so I'll wear a ski mask. Like, that was a funny thing for a while.
Paul, break it down for us. What's your opinion on this?
Well, here in North Carolina, masks are still popular. A lot of people are starting to put them on voluntarily. There's no restrictions. The fact that these robberies are going on at Starbucks and 7-Eleven, I mean, it's just sad that we have come to that, to where they're robbing coffee houses. That's where I go to meet clients. Okay. Where real estate agents go to Starbucks to meet clients. I set many appointments at coffee houses. Nick, there's nothing awkward about your train of thought. I was thinking that too, when all the masking started. It's like, wait a minute, what someone would have wore that would have caused an alarming signal into a Walmart or somewhere out in public now is acceptable, covering your face. But keep in mind, normally people rob because they need money or they want money.
Right.
Well, you're absolutely right. So economic times are hitting a lot of people, right? And the copper thieves are out. They're cutting 3-inch lines in Texas, and people are walking into stores just taking stuff. But that's our commercial real estate side of today's news report. So it looks like Starbucks.
They closed. I think about, like, where the Starbucks are around me. They're always near a school. And those high schoolers go there and they get their coffee at break or after school or whatever. They get their snacks. I think it's better to shut the stores down before some kid gets killed.
Yeah.
And we see enough of that already. I think I've seen enough of under 18-year-old killings in this country in the last 24 months even. But nobody wants to get killed. But still, kids even worse.
Understood. Let's move into our next segment here, ladies and gentlemen. New home builder stocks are dropping 30% year to date. Price cuts inevitable, says Zelmen and Associates. Tune in and take a strong listen to this. This news clip is about 4 minutes, but you're going to want to watch it all the way through and listen to it very closely. If you're in the industry or possibly planning on making a purchase in the future, it's a very interesting insight, and we'll roundtable this after the clip. Here we go.
This morning, homebuilder sentiment plunged in July as buyers pulled back, marking one of the largest single drops in the survey's history. Meantime, the homebuilder stocks, Lennar, KB Home, DR Horton, seeing their shares fall 30% on the year. They are down today as well, even though we are seeing some strength in the consumer discretionary group. Some of the travel names are doing well today. Joining us now to discuss, Ivy Zelmen of Zelmen and Associates. Ivy, this was an ugly drop in homebuilder sentiment. Where are we in the process of the housing slowdown, do you think?
Well, first, thanks for having me back, Sarah. I would say that the rate of change has been pretty dramatic, and I think we're just in early innings. We've seen deterioration that really started to inflect in May, and the acceleration of that negativity has just been continuing through early July. I'd call it mock speed in some markets. It does vary by market. So we've seen the biggest rate of decline probably in Phoenix, with the Southeast and Florida markets holding up better. So it's not across the board. The sentiment's negative because affordability is so stretched. But I think that it really varies by market right now.
Diana Olick, our housing reporter, noted in an email to me that the survey showed 13% of builders say they had dropped prices last month, even though she says that the big builders in their last earnings said they wouldn't have to. So what is going to happen with prices?
They're going to have to drop prices, Sarah. No question. We're seeing significant increase in incentives. We're already seeing price cuts. Again, somewhat market dependent and price point dependent. On the first-time buyer market, where affordability is extremely stretched. In fact, affordability is worse than it was back at the peak of the last boom period on how we look at the index. So I think you're going to see that price cuts are just, inevitable.
Is it in the stock? Some of these, I'm looking at Lennar down 34% off the highs. They're down about 30 to 40% on the year. Is it already baked in, or you think more bad news to come?
Well, I think that because I really think we're in the early innings of what could be a prolonged downturn, and we're seeing inventories which have been steadily rising with demand plummeting in many markets. I think that we're not seeing enough pain yet. I don't think it's time to start accumulating here in terms of the home building shares. I think that we've got, more capitulation that has to come to fruition. And you don't fight the Fed, Sarah. We're still in a tightening cycle. So these stocks don't work when the Fed is raising rates. And we know that inflationary pressure that we're feeling is not going away anytime in the near term. So I would say that there are going to be better opportunities. And as we see stocks that the builders have outperformed over the last several weeks, I think if the stocks are continue to rally, I'd be taking profits and selling into that strength.
So what I'm just going to push you on more specifics, Ivy. When you say you expect a deeper and more prolonged plunge in the market, what are we looking at here, and for how long?
Well, we expect the overall downturn to last throughout at least 23 and into 24. We're expecting home prices to decline nationally, both in the new and existing home market in the low to mid-single digits. We are feeling it right now that we might be even conservative. I think what you have, Sarah, is a backlog that's at the highest level since 2006 for the single-family market. We have a tremendous amount of builders that are rolling out new communities. A lot of those communities where they are bringing on inventory that's spec, and they're going to monetize that inventory, and that's going to result in pricing pressure. And we're seeing a big increase in cancellations, albeit from historic lows, but builders are canceling some people in their backlogs just because they know they won't be able to afford, as well as some people are getting cold feet. And we're seeing a lot of those short-term rental private investors that have portfolios of assets that are now recognizing their rental income's not going to be where they'd hoped it would be, or their costs are rising. So you're seeing a lot of non-primary sellers in the market. So I think we're really, unfortunately, just in the early innings. And I would think that this could be a 1 to 2 year correction, if not longer, depending on the economy.
And sell the rallies in those stocks. I'm pretty bearish. Ivy, thank you very much for joining us,
Thanks
especially on a big day like today.
Thanks, Sarah.
Ivy Zelmen, thank you.
More positive news from the closing bell. So that was that. Let's bring in Mr. Captain Kirk Jaffe. Kirk, what say you on this? They're talking 1 to 2 year corrections. We're just in the beginning innings. They're thinking 23, 24 is kind of when this thing might start coming back around, and take profits while you can and sell into the strength of any little bump up. So
yeah, Ivy Zelmen's a smart lady. She's done a lot of good work, and that's somebody I follow in terms of her analytics. I think she said some interesting things. Builder inventory is going to slow for the next 2 years. So doesn't that imply that we're going to have a constricted inventory, which will drive prices up? Yes, mortgage rates are up, and we know going into a recession, mortgage rates will come back down. Where I've heard as low as 3%. I think they'll probably settle in somewhere around 4.5%, maybe 4.75 over the next 6 to 12 months. But it is interesting. So I think from a housing perspective, inventory is going to be low, driving prices up. Rates are going to come back down. And if you're a real estate professional, like we've been talking about on the show, you're really going to want to, take the basics back out of your toolkit and warm those up and get good at them again and build good partnerships and good referral partnerships, because there's going to be tons of business to do. We're expecting 2.6 trillion in sales in the next 12 months, which would still be the third best year in the last 15 for the real estate markets. So I know things are tough and the sky is falling, but I'm not buying in yet.
All right. So
hold out to the end.
Most of those big builder name brands, Mr. Nick Sakis, 30% down year to date. What say you?
I like where Kurt's head's at. And I think, as a real estate agent right now, you can take yourself into a recession personally faster than anything outside factors can take you to, right? So don't listen to the news and hear doom and gloom and think that there's a recession right now. I shouldn't be making as much money as I was before. And it's just a downturn and we're going to get through. Forget all that nonsense. Now's the time to go double, triple, quadruple your efforts and make more money while everybody else is on the sidelines talking about the recession, right? Because in real estate, your life can change dramatically with 20, 30, 40 deals. You don't need hundreds of deals to have an excellent life, an excellent business in real estate. So if you just need to add an extra 2 or 3 transactions a month to your portfolio, you can still do that right now. There's nothing stopping you, right? So it's just about being smart. As far as the builders are concerned, I think it's just fair game. I think we're going to get back to kind of how it was before. I do agree with Kurt. I think we're still, the supply is still going to be low for the interest. Interest rates are going to probably be around, 4.5% to 5%. I do see that coming back down. And I think it's going to be an excellent time to be a real estate professional, not just an order taker, not just someone who happens to have a license. The people that are going to make all the money right now are going to be the people who treat their business like a business, and take advantage and educate and really be a consumer advocate, because that's what you need, right? If you're a listing agent right now, I'll tell you, we joke kind of behind the scenes about making sure your sellers are under control. People have heard that before. And all that means is managing expectations, right? So typically people are 30, 60, 90 days out in their mind frame of when they've decided to sell their house until now. So they're still thinking 30, 60, 90 days ago is the market that we're in. So they might have heard some chatter, but they're still looking for that lottery ticket. So when you're pricing a house right now as a listing agent, you need to get all that lottery ticket nonsense mentality out. Make sure the house is presentable. Make sure it's really got, everything it can possibly have from a presentation standpoint, whether it's virtual staging, touching up some things, but make sure you are pricing at or slightly under the market right now, because that is the only way you're going to get any kind of activity / bidding war. It's not going to be this moonshot over asking $50,000 over where it should be on the market because there's low inventory. Now's the time to be professional about it.
We're hitting kind of an interesting time, Jake. They mentioned in the clip that the builder sentiment's about 55. So that scale above 50 means things are expanding. Below 50 means they're contracting. So They were expecting about 62. They came in at 55. So yes, it was a big number and a big drop, but still an expanding market, even for the builders.
Great point. They have a little bit of a lead time for a lot of their plans, development, and everything else like that. So much of this big push was right before the Fed started to make inflationary corrections to go ahead and hedge. So it makes perfect sense to me that last year, Q4 and Q1 of this year, it was let's push it in, and especially coming into the springtime where it's heavy building season after the snow melts, and then all of a sudden Jerome Powell and his ninjas made decisions over there, right? So makes perfect sense to me. Paul, what say you on this?
Absolutely. Well, here in North Carolina, the building is actually going up some. I haven't seen any drops at all. They're either
you're in a very hot market. You've got big you got that whole Raleigh area, you know, the Triad, and you've got a lot of people moving there. It's one of the top places to go ahead and live in the U.S., and you've got big corporate epicenters coming in for job growth, right? So
absolutely. It's just a hot market, so it's still on a standstill. But I can agree with Nick more. Price the house at market value or just a little under, because there is a shift coming. Inventory today is at 2,300 homes, 2,331 homes. And when I checked it Friday, it was 24 something. So inventory is rising up and down. So I agree back to what, and I want to again agree to what Nick said. There's three major things that real estate agents need to do today. And that is, one, have communication. You need to set the expectations with your client in the beginning, especially when you're talking with sellers, and expect what to be looking for in this market that is shifting, and be prepared. And personally, I try to avoid price dropping as much as possible, which means list it at market value or a little bit under to generate interest. The more interest you have, the more you'll get into a bidding war. Number two, as a new real estate agent, learn to market your property. And that's the whole thing why I said when you're doing an open house, call other agents, type in Susie and hit enter on the roster, and call every damn Susie on there and say, hey, Susie, I'm holding an open house. Do you have any buyers looking for in this zip code, this area, X amount of bedrooms, X amount of bathrooms? And the third thing, if I can't stress it enough, negotiation skills. You're going to need it now with this shift. Learn to negotiate. Find a mentor, an agent, read books on this. Those three skills, if you can really tighten on, you will be booming this next quarter.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. How can people get in touch with you if they need representation in North Carolina?
Absolutely. You can call me directly on my cell phone number. That's 336-963-3684. And I want to let people know this. If I don't answer for whatever reason, leave me. Yes. No, call back. You can do that.
Just call again.
Just call again. Leave me a voicemail or send me a text message. I will follow up with you. Like I said, the first thing is communication. If an agent can't communicate, they're not worth working with.
10-4. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. So let's check in with our sponsor once again. Mr. Nick, the sponsor of our show, is Freedom Move USA. Why should people choose a Freedom Move USA agent?
You know, the moving industry has been kind of on a ball and chain for a long time. So the Freedom Move USA process is, there are agents in every market across the country right now that are participating with this program. So what we've done is we've taken the freight rate industry that is well known, that's established, that's the same drivers, the same trucks, the same hardware that the big moving companies use, except we're passing on that freight rate savings to the customer as opposed to charging them retail. So in true value for the consumer, we can save them anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000. As a Freedom Move USA agent, they are in charge. They are front seat. They are trained on our process, on the logistics side of things. They will come to your house. They will make sure that your property, everything is accounted for, and that you have a basically stress-free move from start to finish. We're basically 48 states wide. We're not in Alaska or Hawaii at this moment, but if you're looking to move anywhere from state to state in this country, go to freedommoveusa.com, enter your address, and we'll get you connected with a Freedom Move USA agent that can help you save up to $25,000. No more are these retail moving companies going to gouge people in their moving costs. It's absolutely insane, and we're taking a stand for that.
I heard Freedom Move USA is inside of Perk Plans, which is the largest employee benefit portal in the U.S., used by companies as large as Lockheed Martin. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, big brand. I just think if you're not a real estate agent that's certified with Freedom Move USA, I mean, I wouldn't have you list my house.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's go ahead and check in with the celebrities here. The celebrities think that because they have grass, they should go ahead and use water. Nick, what do you think about that?
Hey, I think we were talking about this on pre-show. If you have $300,000 worth of landscaping, you'll pay a fine before you let those plants die.
All right. So, well, we're going to check in with this CBS report. There's a gentleman that walks out, actually talks to a celebrity and says, what do you think about being an offender? So it's quite interesting. Here we go.
Hi, it's David Goldstein. As you just saw in our investigation, that list we obtained called out hundreds of people in the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District using too much water. Now, many of those people are A-list celebrities. We tried reaching out to many of them and did hear back from a couple of their representatives, but only one sat down with us, even invited us to her house as she was having drought-tolerant plants put in, and that's Erin Brockovich. You saw a little bit of that interview. We wanted to show you more, so take a look. You are known for environmental causes.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Yet you are listed as a water offender.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to have that conversation. I am about water. I'm about pollution of water.
But you're also an offender according to the water
That's
district.
right, and I make mistakes.
You're ripping all this out.
I'm ripping everything out. So, look, this is the last thing I wanted to do.
Right.
And I am known clearly, and I care a great deal about water, and most of my fights are pollution of water. Water conservation isn't new to me, but I'm learning a lot and realizing that maybe I hadn't been the best water conservationist. I'm going to be one now. One thing that I'm doing is taking my grass out, which I didn't realize I had 3,000 square feet of lawn, and it's one of my biggest water consumptions,
right.
And the sprinklers, and I can either let it die, which I didn't want to do, I could do turf, which I didn't want to do, or I could do some type of desert, landscape in Southern California, native grasses that can handle the drought.
So what are you going to do?
So I've ultimately decided to do turf.
Do you think you're a water offender?
No, I don't think I'm a water offender. Look, water's complicated. Yeah, I've always said water is a story, never a sound bite. And I'm aware when I get my water bills what's going on. So I've been awfully conscientious about what was coming since about December 2021 and started making inroads into where am I using all this water. This has been a great lesson for me. And I'm the first person, if I've done something wrong, I'll own it, don't care. And I could see, I'm like, where's all this? Do I have a leak? Do I have a subslab leak? What's happening to all my water?
Oh, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. She didn't know that she had 3,000 square feet of grass and the offenders offended. But
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
she would still be watering her plants every single day if she wasn't called out.
I don't want to defend the celebrities per se, but living in Los Angeles, I can tell you years ago, there was a water drought, right? And they encouraged us to stop using water. So my family at the time, we cut our water consumption by like 80%, right? To comply and be in alignment and conserve water. Well, then I had a second child. So now I had to do like 2 baths and whatever. So my water usage, if I cut it by 80%, it went up, say 20%. So my net savings was 60%. I got charged 170% fine on every water bill because they took me from the lowest level and then started charging me because I went up more than 5%.
Oh.
I mean, LA, the water district is not exactly on the up and up over here. So that's not to excuse, someone for having. And also, you have 3,000 square feet of grass if you live in a nice home in a nice community. And the grass has been there for, 25 years. Sometimes people don't really take a while to think about it. Like, do I really want to tear that out and put in,
right.
$400,000 of turf?
The turf companies are licking their chops.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Well, nobody likes to be fined, right? But, so many people, it's almost like the roofing situation in the state of Florida. Here's all these roofing contractors knocking on doors saying, hey, we can go ahead and get you a free roof. And next thing you know, they're filing a legal claim with the home insurance, and now you're getting a new roof. Well, 7+ insurance companies left the whole state. Every other homeowner's home insurance policy has doubled or tripled in the state. So we all have to pay for situations like that. Well, in Southern California, people are just like, screw it. Let's go ahead and turn on the water. So you have a lot of offenders, and the state had to step in. It's getting to a point down there. I mean, look, they're finding dead bodies in Lake Mead in barrels. So the water level's so low, they've already pulled 2 or 3 bodies out of there that were stuffed in barrels from the old gangster days of the Las Vegas casino.
They're gonna force people to stop watering their houses and their homes, and then there's gonna be a fire, and all those places are gonna burn down.
Yes,
because there's no, it's so dry, right? And then, like you said, Jake, the insurance companies are going to continue to leave California, like they are other places. Costs are going to go up. Values are going to go up. Homelessness is going to increase. The whole problem is self-perpetuating, at least out here, in my opinion.
It is. Paul, what say you?
These are some serious issues. In North Carolina, I don't think I've ever encountered anything like this. So I really don't know what to say. I mean, I've been to LA. I love LA, but I don't know. It's just.
Yeah,
this is something that maybe the politicians who are getting paid the big bucks, maybe they can sit down and find a way to conserve and somehow make some type of reservoir throughout the year for these situations.
I don't think it's not necessarily as much of a conserve issue right now as much of a supply issue that these folks have. And I lived in the Southwest for many years, and if you have a bad winter, meaning you don't have heavy snowfall, and then a lot of that stuff is coming down and they're exchanging water. So it is a big thing. Multi-state operation is happening. So, but still, it needs to be both sides, right? Conservation plus supply.
I think they should get together. The ocean conservatives are saying the ocean is rising, right? The snow caps are melting, the ocean is rising, and we need water on the coast. Why don't they just desalinate the water, drop the ocean levels, stabilize the snow caps? I know it's a simplified way of looking at things, but there are resources, I guess. There's the unintended consequences, but we're a creative society. I mean, you got Elon Musk boring tunnels underneath cities so that we can improve traffic. Why can't they figure out how to use the water we have more efficiently? Even if
why don't we use the rest of that Keystone pipeline that doesn't work anymore, and then we'll just divert water down to Southern California with it?
There you go. That's right. Then the snow caps can just melt into the water system already fresh. They don't have to desalinate it.
This makes good sense to me. Who do we need to call? Wait, Uncle Joe. All right, good deal. Let's get into mortgage news with our good friend, Mr. Kirk Jaffe, Captain Kirk. Kirk, I've got a little bit of a pre-clip here for you, and want to get your opinion on it. Here we go.
Welcome back to The Exchange. Inflation was early to hit the housing market, sending home prices soaring. But now that inflation is actually seeping in, is it scaring off all the buyers? Diana Olick has the latest mortgage numbers. Diana?
Yeah, Kelly, you're right. As consumers worry more about inflation, fewer are buying homes. And if they are, they're buying less expensive homes. Mortgage demand fell last week compared with the previous week, and the average loan size shrank as well. Mortgage applications to buy a home fell 4% for the week and were 18% lower than the same week a year ago. That's according to the Mortgage Bankers Association's seasonally adjusted index, and the MBA did adjust for the July 4th holiday as well. This as the average rate on the 30-year fix actually stayed put at 5.74%. The average purchase loan size, though, was $415,000 last week, and that's after reaching a record high $460,000 in March of this year. And that drop is likely due to moderating home prices and weaker buyer activity at the upper end of the market. Applications to refinance a home loan, they were up 2% for the week, but were 80% lower than the same week 1 year ago. At the same time last year, the average on the 30-year fix was 3.09%. So no surprise, there are very few remaining borrowers who don't already have lower rates on their mortgages and who could still benefit from a refinance. Kelly?
Yep, and we've seen the impact across the lending stocks. But that's really interesting about the timing of those home price declines as well.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
You're welcome, Shepard. You're welcome, Shepard. All right. So what say you on this report? But specifically, you keep talking about future forecasting where you see mortgage rates coming back down from where we're at right now, right? So talk to everybody about the mechanics of the actual mortgage rate. The Fed is curving inflation as much as they know how to do, right? And the only thing that ultimately they can do is what? Raise interest rates, which has a trickle over into our side of the house for multiple reasons. But we're seeing a pullback in demand because the rates are coming high. So as supply demand starts matching, you're seeing a reduction. Is this ultimately what you're suggesting?
Yeah, there's a lot of triggers in play and a lot of analytics to look at. You know, as far as mortgage rates at 5.74, they are holding basically steady there. The bond markets go up and go down dramatically every day right now, as the stock market is. Usually when you see the stock market drop, money moves into bonds. When money moves into bonds, that lowers interest rates across the board, generally speaking, and then in reverse. When the bond market starts going up and you see the 10-year note rise above 3% in yield, money starts flowing back into equities, and then rates go up. So there is that shift happening. Interest rates are going to remain stable. Now, I'm more concerned about what's happening in the mortgage markets. You know, most of the lenders right now, if you look at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and most of the small mortgage banking, they're not small, but the mortgage banking platforms, they're not national banks, a lot of them are off 50% in their business. And you're going to see those layoffs continue to happen across the board. And that's really the next domino that we're looking at. When you start to see unemployment tick up, we've been at very low employment, very competitive employment. You know, there's basically 2 jobs for every worker right now. When that unemployment, and if you look at the short-term unemployment, which is new reports of unemployment, it's ticking up. For the last 9 reports, it's ticked up slowly. And so when that catches the major news, you're really going to see everything turn over. Inflation will start to come down. Now, it is, Jake. It's an interesting situation. You know, days on market is rising. We're at about 21 days average days on market right now. We've got about 500,000 homes for sale in the United States. That's new homes listed. But for the first time this week in almost 2 years, we see more homes listed for sale than homes that are gone into contract already to purchase. So that, you know, for the last 2 years, a home went on the market, it went right in for contract to sale. That's now flipped as of this week. So again, indication things are slowing, but you've got a large chunk of America that has that 3.5% rate, and they're not going to move because where are they going to go to, right?
Not now. Now is a hold moment for those folks.
Yeah. And you've got a lot of buyers that are on the sidelines because they're waiting for affordability, which, in my opinion, again, it's more about down payment than it is about affordability. I think people can still afford the homes and budget into it, but getting that down payment is getting tougher as prices rise. Over the next year, we're looking at, you know, appreciation from 0 to 5%, maybe a little bit higher. Going forward, 2022, that's 2023. 2022, we're looking at, you know, still about 15%. Will be where the number comes in for appreciation for the year. It's an interesting market. So what do we do?
Well, so the Zelmen, right, from that report earlier, they were talking about a little bit of a de-escalation in prices, but it wasn't that much, right? It was sub 5% over some markets, and I think this is a micro market type situation. So it's not something you can forecast across as a whole, but high unemployment marketplaces will see bigger fluctuations and changes, right?
Yeah, and we are starting to see that too. Idaho, for example, and Oregon, where a lot of California folks moved out during the pandemic, those inventories are rising very quickly right now. Arizona inventory is rising very quickly, but you know, California inventory is starting to rise again. But Austin inventory is rising, but the hottest markets are now starting to slow down, and we're seeing that inventory build. You know, what do we want? What we want is really a balanced market, right? For me, balanced market has always been interest rates around 6%. We're at 5.75, and things are balancing, right? People need to move, but we're getting into the summer already, so you're going to see inventory start to climb going into the winter months because people don't sell their homes around the holidays. They want to have their family over, right? So nobody wants to move during the holidays, and school's in session, so people, you know, stop moving around for that reason too. So I think you're going to start to naturally see these things escalate in terms of inventory and slowing of the buying. But at the end of the day, I think it's healthy for the market.
So what happens when Jerome Powell comes in here in the next couple of weeks and makes another correction? What does that do to the mortgage side of the house?
Yeah, it's going to be painful. I've been talking to some folks behind the scenes. I know of at least 2 or 3 major warehouse banking institutions. So when you understand the mortgage markets, it's all based on a credit card, really. A mortgage bank or even a national bank gets money from somewhere else, lends that money out, and then sells the mortgage to pay off their debt, just like you're using a credit card. So whether you're getting money from the Federal Reserve Bank, which is like what Bay of A does, or you get from another bank, like banking institution, or you get it from a credit facility, those credit facility companies are starting to show some signs of weakness. And there are 2 or 3 big ones that I think in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we might get some headlines about them collapsing, which will dramatically shift the way that the mortgage markets are functioning here for a little bit. Tighter underwriting, potentially higher rates. As I've been saying, we're in a dip right now. I think rates are going to go up going into January. And to your point, Jake, 26, we have another Fed meeting coming up where right now we're looking at a 50 to 75 basis point increase, but some people are saying it's a 50-50 chance they could go 100 basis points. Further constricting the market, further putting buyers on the sidelines. I think it's a temporary situation, though.
Well, we just saw the latest inflation numbers go ahead and increase from the last time that they went ahead and made a correction, right?
Yeah.
So what is Jerome Powell and his ninjas thinking? Wait a second, the price went up.
Yeah, I don't know that they can really control that right now. You have to look at the manufacturing sectors. If you look at manufacturing across the board in the United States, it's down everywhere. Philadelphia, Cleveland, Dallas, every manufacturing index is down, showing constriction, right? So the Fed can't control consumer purchasing power. I guess, as they continue to raise rates, it constricts power. Right now, consumer demand is still staying really strong, right? So as long as consumers still buy, maybe we can drive through. The biggest question I saw in the past week was normally in a recession, the rest of the world is not in lockstep with like America. Like we're all in a different place, right? So America started raising rates sooner than Europe did. So we're well ahead of the curve in terms of that. Our inflation is still rising, as you mentioned, but inflation in Europe is going to go even faster because they started later to try and control it. So who's going to pull America out of the recession? It's not going to be Europe because they're like a year behind us in terms of correcting their problem. And America's not going to pull Europe out of it because we've got manufacturing issues and housing potential issues. So that becomes interesting. Like, how is this cycle going to reverse itself? And can the Fed really manipulate that, or is it going to be something else?
So when did this all start happening? Like a couple of years ago, like pre-pandemic, everything was great in this country.
When did this all start happening in the housing industry?
When did all of this inflation stuff started going crazy? And pre-pandemic, everybody was high on the kite. They were doing well. There was a lot of jobs. There was low unemployment. Everybody was adding a lot of money to their investments, their 401ks. Everything was great. People were purchasing homes, and things were really rocking and rolling. What happened?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're leading me here somewhere. I think this all started happening, like in 1990. If you look at the mortgage rates have been consistently dropping for like 25 years.
Yeah.
I've been in the business 25 years. I've been saying rates need to be at 6%. I've been wrong every year for 25 years until now. So I think it's been going on a long, long time. I think wage growth has been a big problem, which leads to like education and forward-thinking American ingenuity and getting into jobs that are more digital minded and things like that. I think it's been going on for a long, long time. But when did it start? This cycle? It started with the pandemic, right? When people got locked up and they stopped everything stopped.
Kurt, what do you think about the unemployment numbers right now? Where I was reading an article, I forget what it was. I probably shouldn't say it because I didn't have the article to reference, but they were talking about people counting, like the unemployment numbers counting differently because more people now have 2 jobs than ever before. and having that accounted into unemployment numbers when just to survive now you have to have 2 or 3 jobs. So it's not just like a 0 to 1 scenario where it's like you either have a job or you don't have a job. Well, people don't have a job, but then there's far more other people that have 2 jobs.
Yeah, the unemployment numbers are split into 3 or 4 categories, and the basic news talks about the narrowest category, but there is actually a broader category, which would include what you're talking about, Nick. How many people have multiple jobs, how many people were on unemployment but then decided to stop looking for jobs. The number that we're tracking that actually is indicative of a shift in the market is new unemployment claims. And over the last nine weeks or 9 reports, that number has steadily been going up. Even though it's a small number, it's only about 9,000 new additional claims every report. But nonetheless, it's growing. And if we see one shift in the market, and you may be seeing it now with all the layoffs in the mortgage industry, and subsequently the housing industry is going to have layoffs, you're going to have lower labor because they're going to start constructing fewer homes. So fewer laborers out there. I think that's when you're going to see it over the next month or 2 months, that unemployment rate's really going up, the number that matters. And then it's going to start impacting other areas of the economy.
Also, too, you gotta think about how many real estate agents aren't going to be here in 6, 8, 12 months. So like you can be a employed real estate agent making $0 to your household. Right. Average agent makes $50,000, $60,000 a year. There's a lot of agents that sell one house a year because they're, being supported by a significant other. They're in real estate for whatever, part-time, just to have a license. That person's considered employed as far as the state's concerned. So now we're going to have a huge exodus of real estate agents that came in. That's going to affect the job numbers significantly too, in every state.
I think I've been tracking. I think I've seen between Tesla, Bank of America, Loan Depot, just those that we've been seeing. I think we're like up to 50 or 60,000 people that have lost their jobs in the last 8 weeks.
Short order. Yeah. Well, so this goes back to when we're looking at polls, when we're looking at different percentage rates of inflation and things like that. I like to go ahead and take this. All of you wonderful American citizens that are watching me right now, right? So what are the core things that you purchase, and how has the inflation inside of those core 4 things affected you personally, right? So we're talking food, gas, cooling your home, heating your home, and everything else like that. So those are the majority of expenses that we have for the majority of Americans, which we've seen well more than 8% increase in inflation in those. So
I think you're gonna see some relief. The analytics I'm watching show gas prices could be coming down over the next month or so, maybe as low as down to $4 average a gallon if we're at like $4.80 or $5, $5.25 now nationally. So that could be coming down. But to your point, Jake, I think that heating oil going into the winter, especially if we have a cold winter this year, could be really brutal for a lot of folks, especially on the East Coast.
Real brutal, especially on fixed incomes. Mm-hmm. So, Paul, what say you? We're just ranting off the mortgage news. See what Captain Kirk does to us? He just gets us fired up.
He's amazing, and I love it. Even though I respectfully disagree. I don't think rates will be down at 3% next year. I think they're going to go up and stay up. That's just my personal opinion. I am eager. I got it in my calendar, Kirk, the 26th of July. I really want to hear what the feds have to say about that. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong because I'd love for next year, 2023 would be a great year to just buy houses and get people in home ownership.
We had we had a segment with what was his name, Jake?
Patrick David,
yeah.
Right, a couple of weeks ago. You're in his camp now, Paul. I don't know if you went in his camp last week when we talked about it, but he's expecting 10% interest rate, and the housing market to collapse.
Yeah, he's calling for big time doom and gloom on his channel.
People respect him. There are people that I watch that respect him too. I don't think we have the inventory levels to make that happen right now.
But look, if you have consumer sentiment, which is a big deal, right? If you ask 10 people on the street, do they think a recession is going to equal huge price reductions in housing? 9 out of 10 are going to say yes, right? Like, I did a funny TikTok video as a joker talking about I can't wait for, prices to go down and it's our turn as buyers, and like literally 70,000 views on that one video, hundreds, almost 1,000 comments on it, and like 90% of the comments were like, yeah, F the sellers. They're, no more, like buyers are coming in, there's housing's going to crash. Like the sentiment on that video was like everybody's on board for just, I want to get my house, a good deal on a house again. And that's not going to happen. We're still going to see slight appreciation and house pricing. So as a professional real estate agent, the managing expectations on buyer side and seller side is going to be key. You're going to have facts and data and show people there's not going to be a $60,000 price reduction on a house that you're waiting for, unless some outside factor happens that is just far beyond anything else. But there's still small demand. Eddie Murphy did in his stand-up back in the 90s when he talked about, this is probably not appropriate for the show, but he talks about if you're starving and somebody gives you a saltine cracker, you're going to be like, damn, that's the best saltine cracker I've ever had in my life. Right? Was that a Ritz? That was a Ritz. Give me a Ritz. Give me another one of those crackers. Well, that's what's happening right now. Everybody's starving. And just because we got a couple more houses back on the market, it feels like we've just eaten a buffet. We're still 1 month inventory at best in most markets, right? Like it's a balanced market, 6 months. We are far from a balanced market.
Yeah. Well, that's why maybe $4 a gallon gasoline is going to start tasting good too in comparison, right? So What happened there, Kirk? Tell us all about it. What did you hear, right? Did Uncle Joe go ahead and make good headway with the Saudis?
No.
Or is he opening up more of our reserves?
I think it's just OPEC is already planning to release a higher, number of barrels, which is going to drive the price per barrel down. And then when you do the analysis and you look at, 20% profit margins and things like that, it compared to what they're going to be producing out of OPEC, it's just going to drop that number naturally. To your point, Nick, I think there's a huge problem with buyer exhaustion right now. Buyers have been, especially first-time home buyers, have been trying to get into markets and put 25, 30 bids on homes over the last 2 years and couldn't buy a home, are frustrated. But we've talked a lot about on the show, we've talked a lot about the fear of missing out, that FOMO, right? So they're complaining and squawking now, but if the market turns and things start to heat up again, they're going to be in faster than ever before because they missed it the last time.
Yep.
All right, we're going long in the tooth today, and we're going to go ahead and hold down for this final segment. So, ladies and gentlemen, a real estate agent, if you're a real estate agent, which I think there's a couple of you in the audience-ish, right? So, real estate agent was attacked at a model home in Las Vegas. Very unfortunate situation, rare, but can happen, right? So, let's go ahead and take a look at this video here, and the team is going to go ahead and roundtable a safety briefing for you, especially if you're an agent, your broker doesn't stand one down. We're going to do it for you today. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. All right, here we go.
Frightening moments for a local real estate agent. Las Vegas Metro Police say a man attacked the realtor right after she showed a model home to potential buyers. Fox 5's Lauren Martinez joins us in studio with what happened to this realtor.
Jacqueline, police say the suspect came inside the model home and filled out an interest card under a fake name. The agent noticed he was acting suspicious and made her feel uncomfortable. She followed those instincts, and experts in the real estate community say she did everything right.
Sense of gratitude that this agent, she was so in tune with what was going on around her.
On Wednesday afternoon, a local real estate agent was attacked after showing a model home. Las Vegas police did not disclose the location to help protect the victim's identity. Police arrested the suspect, Richie Cervantes. He faces several charges, including attempted sexual assault. A police report recounts what happened. A real estate agent noticed Cervantes was acting suspicious. He unlocked several windows and eventually left. The agent called 911 to report his suspicious behavior. She then locked the front door and windows and called a coworker. While she was on the phone with her coworker, Cervantes returned. He broke a window. The real estate agent hid in a closet. The police report says Cervantes dragged her out of the closet and she fought to try and free herself. He made threatening comments before performing a lewd act.
I think she is incredible. and we can all learn from her. And my heart is with her right now.
Carl Carter's mom, Beverly, was a real estate broker. In 2014, she was kidnapped and murdered by a man and woman posing to be clients. He created the nonprofit Beverly Carter Foundation to raise awareness of real estate agent safety.
You do much like what this precious agent did, and that was pay attention to surroundings, not camping out, in a spot of the house where you can't see what's going on with your face and your cell phone.
At Coldwell Banker Premier Realty, agents are asked to bring clients into the office to register before they can show them around a house.
Always be aware of your surroundings and have an exit strategy. So if you can't get to the front door, how do you get to the back door, or what's the quickest way to get to the street? Don't park in the driveway because somebody can block you in. Always make sure that your cell phone is fully charged. Thank goodness that she listened to her gut instinct, because if she had not taken action when she did and made the phone calls that she did, the police may not have arrived in time.
Now, the report said police used a sledgehammer to bust open the front door and took the suspect into custody. Fox 5 spoke with the family of the agent. They tell us she is doing really good tonight. In the studio, Lauren Martinez, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
According to court records, Cervantes is being held without bail. Metro Police say they are looking for any additional victims tonight of Cervantes.
All right. Unfortunate situations out there. So there are people that are mentally ill or have bad intentions all over this country. So it's not just people in real estate type situations. Safety briefing for a realtor, though. Make sure people know where you are at. That's very smart, right? Just like people that go out into the wilderness camping or hunting. So it's very smart to go ahead and make sure other people know what's going on with you. All right. So that's very smart. Secondly, there is always strength in numbers. So if you feel like you might be in a situation or it would help you in some regard, have a coworker come along with you, have a friend, somebody from the family participate with you, and plan accordingly, right? So I do highly urge every single one of you real estate professionals to go ahead and meet your clients at your office first, at a place that's a professional place of business, prior to then your journey of going out, right? So sometimes there's one-off situations that do happen. However, strength in numbers. And there is always in our country the ability to go ahead and protect yourself. So there is different states have different laws and regulations on concealed carry as well. And it is our right in this country. And you can go through a class and learn how to go ahead and protect yourself. And until that is off the law books, it is your right to go ahead and protect yourself and go through that. So obviously younger people and women are more at risk. And you know what? These things happen to men. So we have a lot of situations that happen all across the U.S., not just in this real estate industry. So if you live in the light and know that there is strength in numbers and don't put yourself into bad situations, always be prepared, be smart. So
I like all that, Jake. The buddy system is essential in this world. I love what Paul said earlier. He was talking about marketing. Knock on your neighbors' doors and let them know that you're there. Alert the community that there's an event going on, because people will watch, and that's just another layer of security as well.
Yep, without a doubt. Paul, does your organization hold any safety briefings for your folks?
We do. There about a year and a half ago, we had an agent who represents a builder, and the builder allows you to do brokerage and represent her. And a guy pulled up. They closed at 5 or 5:30. He pulled up right when they closed. He robbed her, shoved her in a closet, and took her car and left. And thank God he didn't hurt her. But they do. They recommend carrying mace. If you get a concealed handgun permit, obviously there's a lot of agents that do carry here. People you don't know, bring them to the office. They want everyone brought to the office. and they recommend getting a copy of their driver's license, a photocopy of their driver's license for your records, just in case anything happens, and to alert other agents to let them know. Always, 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 when I do an open house or a broker's open, I either have a lender with me or another agent or somebody else with me present. There's always two of us.
Video is great too. You know, keep your cameras running. You know, you can always opt out. You know, like if someone comes in and they go, I don't want to be on camera. Okay, I've shut it down, but you did capture a picture of them at least. You know, so in case something happens, at least you can take it to the police. Keep the cameras running.
Nick, any final safety takeaways?
Yeah, I like the buddy system. Always let somebody know where you're at, how long you're going to be there. You know, you kind of have a feeling, and I think there's a lot of agents right now that have been doing open houses or you know, in this frenzy the past 2-3 years where they might not have experienced an open house where only 1 or 2 people came in a 3 or 4 hour period. So like there hasn't, these concerns are more now because there's going to be less people at open house and more threats because it's not going to be quite as busy. But yeah, always know your front door, back door situation. If you get a vibe from somebody as soon as they walk in, like if you're by yourself, they say you shouldn't judge people, but if you're by yourself, have your spidey senses up. You know, if you're in a 2-story house situation and you got a bad feeling about, like, don't go upstairs with them, stay downstairs, stay by the front door, make sure they're not locking the front door when they walk in. You know, just, you gotta kind of judge a little bit and be aware, but definitely always, you know, if you can have a lender there, always have a lender. I like all the suggestions on here. And then have conversation with somebody on the phone. If you have a vibe and you feel like somebody came, like, pick up your phone and call somebody and start having a conversation. Like, hey, are you on your way? Are you coming? You know, we're going to be here for another hour. Like be out there, right? Don't just sit in the corner and hide because someone's there. Make sure that they know that you have other contacts or other people that can be involved. And yeah,
I guess to that point, Nick, also make sure you got your phone charger, right? Make sure your phone's charged full up before you go. And maybe you have your power cord with you.
Yeah.
If it's a long sitting. For sure.
Absolutely. I like how they said about parking your car. Put it in an area where that you can jump in and go, not where they can block you in. I think that's very important.
Good deal.
All
right.
I guess the other thing is be aware of the listings that you're taking. You know, not every listing is for every agent.
Yep, absolutely.
Better to stay alive than get paid $3,000.
Yep. And unfortunate situations happen when you least expect it to. So being more prepared and expecting for unexpected situations is what you need to keep top of mind. There are a lot of people that depend on each and every single one of you. Make sure that you're around to be dependable, right? So good deal. Thank you, Paul. We appreciate you. If you want to get in touch with Paul, his phone number is 336-963-3684. And that's Paul, NC Realtor. So he's a cool dude and an amazing person. And if you are in North Carolina, you should probably just go hang out with Paul regardless. So get to know him. Thanks for helping us out today, Paul. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, guys. Have a good day.
See you, buddy.
Then. And Captain Kirk Jaffe at kirkjaffe.com. There's 2 F's in Jaffe. Just remember that. So 818-469-2189. If you need anything mortgage related at all whatsoever, he can go ahead and help you. That's if you're a consumer, if another mortgage broker is thinking about getting into the industry, a real estate agent that might be struggling. And he also wrote some pretty awesome books. That's mainstream. So did I leave anything out?
I think you covered it, Jake. Thank you.
All right. Good deal.
You do a great job of promoting me. I appreciate you a lot.
Well, I like you, Kirk. You do good. You do good for us all. So thank you very much. So have a blessed day, Kirk.
You too.
All righty. Hey, and I heard that you can go ahead and get contacted too, Nick, right? At runation.com or
runation.com. Like come listen. I want to have a conversation with any agent that wants to be on air because we want to get as much representation throughout the country as possible on this show. So if you are living in a state that we haven't covered yet, which is a lot of them, right? Because we're just starting this show. It's kind of new. Head on over to runation.com and fill out the form. If you would like to be involved with us in Free to Move USA, you can check out freedommoveusa.com. and there's an agent section there. So we're also looking for representation there. Come on and join the herd. We're going to be 40,000 agents strong, and we are going to help you recession-proof your business with a unique selling proposition that is timeless and really provides true value to the consumer. So come on over and join us at freedommoveusa.com.
Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we stream live almost every Tuesday and Thursday, unless there's internet issues or something like that. Tuesday and Thursdays, high noon Eastern, 0900 Pacific. Tell your friends about us. If you like what we do, ring the bell, hit the like button, tell your friends, and as always, bring your favorite beverage. So sometimes we go long when the news is important and there's safety briefings. So stick around. And if you're here on a replay, we appreciate you. See you guys. Have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you, Nick.